So, Dad Strength's in the back corner working on the steering clutch for the MC. I just brought the Gleaner in the shop. I'm gonna let it dry off for a little bit. We got the 1660 all done. Everything's done on it. It's ready to go to the field. So, I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do here. We're going to remove all this sheet metal, get it out of our way, and then we're gonna connect this shaft to here so that we can run this corn head with the Gleaner, because this head's never been on it. So what we're going to need to do is get this bearing holder mounted on there to hold that shaft, and then this is our new shaft we're going to run the head with. So it's going to be very cool when it's done. This head's not a bad head. It needs a little work, some sheet metal straightened out on it, ear savers need put back on, but no big deal. So we're going to run it and see how well it runs, and then we'll do some other things to it when we get a little time. So I'm pretty excited. Going to pick corn for the first time with the Gleaner, so it's going to be fun. So we'll get started on this project and see how it goes. So we got the cover all off. Dad and Dad's Strength helped me get it off. We had to cut all the bolts out. Now we're going to take this chain completely off so that it'll allow this sprocket to let this shaft move around. And then I can figure out where straight is and figure out how I want to mount this bearing so that this bearing holds this shaft straight. Because on the case combine, U-joints go on here, and then they rely on the feeder house bearing and U-joints to hold all this straight, to hold this straight for the sprocket. That chain's a little stiff, ain't it? I have to take that chain and roll it up, soak in some diesel fuel or something for a while. Just watch your fingers. Might have to split it.
Oh, rust.
Get it pokey? Okay, we're gonna finish tearing this apart.
I gotta pull that from
Oh, yeah, go pull that out. Okay, so we just got back from lunch. I got Josh here actually helping me run the camera, so he's up on the ladder, gives you a little better perspective. Dad's Strength's over working on the steering clutch for the MC. So we're starting to figure out what we're going to do exactly to hook up the drive line for the 1063 corn head. So what I've come up with, I'm going to reuse this John Deere bearing holder, and I'm going to make a bracket from here to bolt this to, and then I'll brace it from the outside of the head to here to hold this all good and solid, and that'll keep our alignment straight out here for our double roller chain that runs the head. So I've got the shaft slid on the combine, and I've marked where I think approximately I want this cut off. So if we put it there, the alignment looks really good. The U-joints are not in too much of a bind. Well, not really in a bind at all. They're fairly relaxed. So that's the idea of a U-joint anyways, is to have a little movement like that. So what we're going to do next is we're going to saw this shaft off. We're going to cut that shaft off, and then we're going to take a grinder and we're going to grind some depressions into this shaft for the bolts that go through that yoke and clamp tight on here so it can't slide off. So I'm going to go get something to cut this off with, and then we'll get this mounted, and then the drive line is pretty much done. It was fairly simple to do. So the only thing is now I'm going to have to find another shaft like that one with 1 1/8" end on it to go back to a case combine if we ever want to run this on a case combine again. But the modifications we're making are going to make this very simple to put it back on a case combine. So, and that was kind of what I was after with both these heads, is they're very universal for either the Gleaner or the case combines. So I'm going to get tools and get at it. You can end the video now. Okay, so we got our shaft cut off. I just took a Milwaukee grinder with a cutoff wheel and just kept turning it slowly and cut it off real nice, and then beveled the edge on there, give it a nice bevel so it'll slide back on. So now I'm going to figure out what I need to mount this, and then Dad's strength will help me. Done a beautiful job in the last one we done, making a groove in here for the bolts to lay in. So I'll just let him do it from here on, or from there on. And but I'm going to get this bracket figured out. Okay, so I took a piece of C-channel and I made a bracket that this bearing holder bolts to. So now all this is removable. We're going to weld the C-channel to the frame of the head, and then I think we might make a bracket from here to here, but I don't know if it's necessary since we've got this so close to here. I think this would be plenty strong right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that welded up. We'll get these bolts tightened up in here, and then we'll move on to getting this shaft prepared to put the drive shaft on. And then I'm probably going to make some sort of just a cover to go on here to keep corn stalks and stuff from wrapping up, and pickle vine or whatever might be out in the field. So this is actually coming along very well. I measured from the shaft here to here and from here to here, and that tells me that everything is square and straight where it needs to be. The only thing we need to check is if it's high or low, and we're going to do that right now before we weld it up. So it's going quite well. It's been fairly easy so far. So there's less work on this than there was on the bean head, I think. So at least with this, we don't have to worry about the reel drive and all that to run the hydraulic pump and stuff. So we're going to get this welded up. Okay, so we've got our shaft on, we cut a groove in the shaft. All we did was we held a die grinder with a diamond burr bit, and Dad's strength spun it while I held it on here, and we just cut a rounded groove in, and we got our bolts put in, and we are pretty much done here now, other than we're going to put the cover back on. Where'd it go? Oh, this. We're going to slide this back on here so it was like on the John Deere head, and then that'll keep that covered up and keep stuff from wrapping in that U-joint. And then we're going to make a small cover for right here, and this job's done. We're going to squirt some red paint on there. I got to refasten the grease lines, and then it's finished. So we got everything put back together, chains back on. We oiled the chain really good. Dad's strength welded the brackets all on. They're all done. We painted the John Deere green so it's not so gaudy looking. Just red looks better on a corn head if you ask me. So we put this all back on to cover up the U-joints in there. Just pull that back when you want to grease it. Now we've moved on. We haven't ran it yet because we know that the fingers on the feeder beater will hit this little tongue on the case heads. This actually slips in the feeder house pretty nice on the case heads and does not affect the feeder house chain. But actually on a Gleaner, these fingers hit this. So this has to be cut off some. So we got it marked out. We're going to cut quite a bit of it off, and then we'll put the head back on and we'll see if it runs. So I'm pretty excited. Everything's going really good. All the angles look good on the U-joints. So I'm happy with the way it's turned out so far. Well, here we go. First time trying it. Ready? Runs perfectly. Perfect. Okay, so there we have it. We've got a 1063 Case IH corn head mounted on an L2 Gleaner. Everything turned out great. Wilson approves of it. Runs good, runs quiet. It's ready to go to the field and pick some corn. So as soon as it dries off, conditions are fit, we are going to take this to the field and we are going to pick some corn with it. And also, I found out that we're going to be getting an 8-row head for the S67 sitting outside so we can go pick corn with that. So since beans are going to be on hold for a while. Wilson, where are you going?
You go get the paint, Jesse. Paint the corn head.
Okay, go get the paint. So, anyways, thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.